dedicate the song to all the people who want to know all about John's life.
At FCSU, this great black college campus, and the topic of discussion today will be relationships between black males and black females. We want to understand and go deeper into the minds of what our young average black people are thinking nowadays. I think the problem with black people, black women, and being in relationships is black men are dogs. We dogs.
I think it has historical content because, for instance, during slavery, our families were torn apart. So as black people, we grew up in broken homes from the beginning. Like it was like second nature. So I think we just don't value family because we didn't grow up to value family as much as other cultures.
I believe that there's a problem with commitment because a lot of times people are not requiring commitments in relationships. You know, a lot of times they say, "Oh, we just kicking it," or you know, we just having fun, or whatever. It's not a lot of emphasis on commitment.
Commitment in monogamous relationships because mostly, I think a lot of the things we see now, as far as television, things like that, music videos. I think women are revealing a lot of their bodies more now than they did, you know, in earlier years. I'm sure we all, you know, have seen movies and shows and things from, you know, 80s and 90s, you know, and it's just more revealing now. And I think things are getting a little more sketchy now. So in that case, it makes us want to kind of, you know, test it, want to see it, you know, if we see it, we kind of want to touch it, if we hear it, we kind of want to, you know, if we hear it, we kind of want to see what it's about, you know, things like that. So I think that's one of the contributors to the commitment problem.
First off, ain't no commitment, like, ain't nobody cuffing these days, no way. And if you're in a relationship, ain't nobody gonna be faithful no way, because, you know, people get mad, stuff like that, and then people gonna make mistakes, or what they so-called mistakes.
Guys can't be true to themselves because they want to be in a relationship, but then again, they don't want to be in a relationship. They want to have options, so they might as well be in an open relationship, which is a no relationship at all because it's just stupid.
I think it's because it all generates back to when slavery, black men were made to breed. I think some of those traits haven't really disappeared in our black men. Even
Think
today.
about that, man. I think because everybody going steady, man. I mean, like, you think about Rocco, man. Think about how that song come off, man. You got everybody talking about something, you know what I'm saying? One night stands, two night stands. You know, everybody want to fucking have kids before they actually get married, you know what I'm saying? It's like the whole dynamics have changed. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you had, you know, somebody, you know, they court them, date them, marry them, get their house together, get their kids. Now that shit is all
back
back
to family structure, and many times in the black community, the father is absent, and that could definitely have an impact on how children view relationships and how they interact with the opposite sex when they're in relationships. I don't know if that's necessarily just a black issue. I think that that's just an issue, period. I would say human nature does not necessarily allow us to always be monogamous. As humans, you know, we're a lot of times attracted to many different things, which makes us attracted to many different people, unfortunately. So sometimes monogamy
I don't know if I actually agree with that statement. My grandparents have been married for 50 years. My parents have been married for 35 years. I mean, longer, you know, just about as long as I've been alive. So I've seen a lot of relationships between black men and black women that are committed. Not so many in my generation. For example, though, my African-American friends with whom I went to graduate school, a lot of their marriages have broken up, and I think it really has to do with the fact that as women, we have more opportunities. So if a relationship isn't working or you're feeling disrespected, you might leave. Whereas in the past, you know, our grandmothers or mothers might have chosen to stay. So perhaps it's the feminist movement.
I think it might have to do with a great deal of misunderstanding over the years and even centuries. coming all the way from slavery, is that it may be a little difficult for a black woman to see the black male as a real man because of that history. And it might be difficult for the black man to see the black woman as a loving, intimate creature because she has had to be very tough in order to exist in this society. Oftentimes she had to become the mother and the father of her children because black men had walked away.
I think that, I usually talk about this a lot with a lot of my classes, mainly my Black Issues class, and I attempt to engage students in understanding relationships and the part that they play in relationships. And I believe that one of the conversations we had about black relationships is the fact that a lot of times we don't realize how much macro issues play a part in our relationships, mainly racism. How you doing? And the aspect of racism and how racism plays a part in our relationships. So, for example, us being a people who've come from a very rich legacy and have been colonized and brought to a native land, and a new culture is now imposed upon us, we're struggling with that identity in our relationships. And when you look at the amount of stereotypes that are attached to being black and the negative stereotypes that's attached to it, and then we put a black man and a black woman, and how society has created these stereotypes around these two words, you can't sit back and think that we don't think about these issues, or these issues don't play a part when we engage with each other, how we see each other, how we treat each other. We've become removed from our spiritual essence, realizing and recognizing the importance of balance and harmony in our relationships. And we find that this tension manifests itself in relationships in very, very harmful ways. And this tension is what we constantly see. We see it in the media, and this also we see in just daily interactions, and we see it in the homes. So the problems in relationships, specifically our relationships, are widespread. But really, it's really for us really looking at and really engaging in a serious conversation about, one, who we are as a people, who we are as individuals, and beginning to understand the other person as well.
Well, first of all, I want to say that, we're kind of losing our morals and our ethics. Back in the day we had, our elders would teach our parents, right from wrong. We really don't have that these days. People are having kids at a younger age, and they're really not learning about life.
I think, honestly, it's just because of the times. It's just so many more women, attractive women and men out there. And right now, everybody has a mentality, if you're not married, then you're single. Yeah. So that's probably the biggest, and a certain respect level. That's why I say it contributes so much.
Oh. I think the main reason is how people brought up. I don't think there's a lot of committed relationships in today's society. Back in the day, when you had 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, parents, two-parent homes. Nowadays, you don't have a two-parent home. So, when a young man comes up, or a young woman comes up, they're not used to that.
African American families have the highest single home rates or separations or divorce. I know I grew up in once my parents were married, but they did divorce, and I know a lot of my friends, all my friends probably have one friend that actually parents are still together. So I think that affects a lot on a male, how he treats a woman, and a female, how she sees a relationship being portrayed,
And it's our families with being broken up. For instance, the black male. Black male was taken away, the strongest black male, and we were told to look to other people for aid instead of our black men. So women have this, I'm all for the independent woman, don't get me wrong, but as the household, you're supposed to look as the man, but we didn't grow up like that. We were told, do for yourself. You don't need a man. You can have a baby without a man.
Some women, they just kind of want their own little
individual type thing. They want to be supportive of themselves.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't want a man to be there for them, and it's hard to commit to that, you know, because some men, you know, personally, you know, I would like to take care of my girl, do different stuff for her. But some women, they don't like that. They just want to do everything themselves, and they want to be in charge. And sometimes it's kind of hard for a man to have the woman in charge of him.
Women, they don't really have trust in black men, really. They're like, they're not really loyal. You know what I'm saying? Cause like back then, you know, back in the day, you know what I'm saying, you had girls that, you know what I'm saying, that can like be in a relationship. But now it's just that girls are thinking like men now, so they want the same thing as men now. So,
money got a lot to do with that shit. I mean that too.
Hey, talk, man.
Money, I think money got a lot to do with everything. You know what I'm saying? If your pockets ain't big enough for the girl will leave you, go to another nigga with the bigger pockets. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up. Relationships.
Because communication, they're not willing to talk about, you know, what they want or what they don't like, and then they just hold it in. If you can't communicate with nobody, then I don't think there's no point in really being with somebody, because you ain't gonna know. You can't just get mad at somebody for something you don't like and you didn't tell them about it. So.
Moral maturity, and that people, young relationships really don't know what it is to be committed, because they've never been taught commitment, or they never experienced commitment, so they really don't understand what commitment is.
You know the difference between a cat and a dog?
What?
Only really difference between a cat and a dog is that a pussy hides her shit better.